Seriously? Get out of 2016. This is not the list any longer. It is the lexicon of Le Champion.
I don't think that word means what he thinks it means.
You tell him.
Welcome back, everybody, to the War Report. This is your host, MJ, and my boy Cyrus is here too, co-host. Cyrus, we are back after the Thanksgiving break. How was your Thanksgiving?
The longest celebration.
Well, I hope that
Survivor Series.
Well, I hope that you are you well fed, and I hope that you threw the Thanksgiving leftovers away. And
yes, so, we're past the threshold. No more Thanksgiving leftovers. I want to live. But yeah, man, all the Thanksgiving leftovers is gone. You know, me and my family ate good, so there wasn't any really leftovers to be had this week.
Well, what's your favorite dish Thanksgiving? Like, what do you have going on there?
Man, this year I would say our top two picks this year was collard greens and macaroni.
I guess it depends on who makes the macaroni, right? But like, you know.
Oh yeah, both, man. But yeah, my mom threw down.
Yeah, my mom did too. Like her macaroni is great. Stuffing is really good, and of course, like the turkey. You know what I mean? Like I said this on Facebook, and they probably like are responding this a week later because you know how like Facebook is late on everything. But I said, 2 days before Thanksgiving, if you're trying to thaw, the turkey now, you're going to be eating on Sunday. And then somebody responded, and they were like, "Well, you know, you could put water on that bird, and you can get it done."
People giving actual advice to the joke. It's just like, nah, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm like, it's a joke, and if you're really trying to attempt that, then it's going to be a sad Thanksgiving trying to eat a thawed 2-day bird, you know?
But, you know, it like Thanksgiving was a very nice week, you know. NXT Wargames was great, and NXT won Survivor Series. So it was funny to see the celebration on that show and, you know, just spending time with the family.
Before we get into everything, how'd you feel about the celebration that happened? My man Joshua Anderson, Joshua Williams, Wrestle and Flow, doing the whole thing and then having everybody come out.
I thought it was funny as hell because literally like the whole locker room is out there, and I was just the same as Undisputed Era. I was just like, you guys didn't like really like do anything, so like the only people that should be celebrating are the women in Undisputed Era. Like Adam Cole shouldn't even be out there either because he didn't like fight for you know, the brand supremacy, you know. So it's just like, get out of here.
Well, it's funny because like they had like new signees there too. Like Shotzi was out there. I think Santana Garrett, and like maybe there was like a VXT sighting, or but everybody basically in the PC was out dancing.
Yeah.
It was like a big ass flash mob, I felt.
Yeah, and everybody's wearing the gray Performance Center shirts, and I'm just like, this. It was so goofy and silly.
So we're gonna give our overall thoughts on War Games, the Survivor Series. So, what wrestlers did you think gained the most from that weekend? I'll let you.
Well, without a doubt, I think Rhea Ripley and Keith Lee. Just those two just had the weekend, or just like the week of a lifetime, you know, like on the go home shows. Well, honestly, I could say month of the lifetime because they just had a stellar run with all the evasion angles and stuff. But yeah, Rhea Ripley and Keith Lee, they looked amazing out there. Keith Lee did not have to win the men's Survivor Series match. That's completely okay. Because he looked amazing anyway, and I'm just like, it is what it is. People could be upset about it, but yeah. And Rhea Ripley, she's going to be, like, just make her NXT champion.
Yeah, I don't think... I didn't get why people were upset of NXT men's not winning that elimination match. They weren't going to win it. Like, you had to think that, like, even though NXT basically won the night, like, come on, like, Raw and SmackDown we're gonna win matches. Like,
yeah. And also, like, everybody in that match looked amazing. I would say, like, the only person that didn't, like, really go off was Walter. And after I watched NXT UK, man, watch NXT UK. Walter is not the hoss that you think he is.
People were livid that he got eliminated so quick.
But, like, if we want to keep it real, when Walter missed that first chop, it was quiet. I was just like, nah, you blew it. The one thing that you're known for, and you blew it on the first shot. When people were like silent, waiting to hear that chop, and then Drew McIntyre like hit him with one that was louder. Nah, get him out of here. Eliminate his ass. Embarrass him. Get him out of here.
I agree with you that Rhea Ripley looks amazing out of this whole War Games thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know some people were kind of iffy when she moved over from NXT UK, but she rocked it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the whole War Games match where I think it was 4-on-2 and her and Candice kind of rallied to win. Like, she looked like a star there. And, of course, she looked like a star in the main Survivor Series match. Keith Lee, like, even getting the rub from Roman Reigns. And I know people complain, Roman doesn't do enough. Roman puts over people. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's where his strengths are lying now,
I think Roman Reigns selling the hell out of the Spirit Bomb just shot Keith Lee into the fucking moon. Like, dude, like, he looked amazing there. And just him, like, like, Roman normally, like, I don't normally see Roman Reigns selling like he was doing for Keith Lee that night. And then Keith Lee also being able to eliminate Seth Rollins, or just, like, over, like, surviving amongst, like, the two, like, biggest, like, male superstars in the company, besides, like, Brock Lesnar or something. And it's just like, how do you not, like, superstar status,
Yeah, I'm actually going to add Dakota Kai too. I think that she, listen, like, you talk about heel, you know what I mean? Like,
superstar heel after one angle. That's all it took.
And I think that's the difference between, some people compared the Dakota Kai heel turn to the MJF heel turn, and I think that there's a difference because we all saw that the Dakota Kai heel turn was coming. Like, something was coming down the pike. It was just the shock and the immediateness of how she did it. And especially because she, like, her and Tegan Nox are inseparable, and the viciousness of her basically, taking her knee brace off and, like, using the cage and smashing her knee over and over and over again. And it's something that it was built up over time where, like, people thought that she was, and this was, like, you could even go back years if you want to, harp on, like, the New Japan, like, wait for years booking. This is it. Like, she waited, was looked at as the runt of the NXT division, and she basically broke out and, beat up her best friend, abandoned her team, and also, when Shayna eventually leaves or moves up, you already have a mega heel. And I think that's the difference between, the MJF turn where we saw that too, but it was still too prolonged, especially where they did it, at the pay-per-view. It was like, okay, like hurry up, you know what I mean? Like here it was like, oh my God.
Like the main difference between the turns is that we knew MJF was going to turn heel because just a natural heel. And, we are familiar, like, people were familiar with his stuff on the indies, and it was just like, yeah, the turn is coming. Like, it was, like, super obvious because of, like, his character in the indies. But, like, Dakota Kai here, it was, like, legitimately, like, something. And you would have really have seen it coming. And I thought, like, she did it for good reason, of course, She was, like, looked at as the run of the women's division. Tegan Nox didn't say anything when, Rhea Ripley chose Mia Yim over her, even though they're clearly tag team partners. Like, if you're not going to stand up for me, then, like, screw you, And then, like, her, like, even, like, giving Shayna the upper hand, even though, like, the bad stuff that Shayna has done to her, like, she's, like, mega pissed. And I love that.
Yeah, man. Overall, what do you feel about the invasion? I thought that this invasion angle was probably, if you don't want to go Kofi, basically Kofi's run, this was probably the best storyline that they've done all year. It got a brand over, and people within that brand. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
NXT is
like this year, just like on like list of superstars, you could like Rhea Ripley got like kind of like the Kofi Mania kind of treatment, except like. Well, we'll see in about 2 weeks if she gets her title win. But just one of the natural progressions, Trust the process.
Yeah, they did amazing here, and all it took was a delayed flight from Saudi Arabia to really kick it off.
That had people pissed.
It had people pissed, but it worked out in the long run. Like,
yeah, because we got one of the coolest SmackDowns ever, and then it snowballed from there to being one of my favorite Survivor Series of all time.
So I wanted to kind of segue into that with Tommaso Ciampa's comments. He was on the Lillian Garcia Chasing Glory podcast, where she. Every single podcast, she seems to get like these in-depth and emotional answers from wrestlers. Like, she has an uncanny ability to do so. And
I don't know how she doesn't.
Amazing. And he was talking about basically moving up and how he refused to do so. Here's the quote. I legitimately vocalized to them, if I have to go to Raw or SmackDown, then I'm going to retire. I would love to produce or coach or be a part of it. There's no way I'm taking that load on and going, yeah, I'll just have a 6-month run and then call it quits. I won't do that. It's not worth it to me. When you move up to the main roster, that's, over 200 dates. And NXT, there's like, he said it, like there's an imaginable load of 30 to 50 matches on NXT. And apparently that's kind of like the sentiment of a lot of people in NXT. Like, obviously, with NXT kind of coming out of Survivor Series and being looked upon as like this main brand now, people would rather stay because, obviously if you wrestle on Raw and SmackDown, that's a lot. Listen, like, just look at SmackDown's schedule recently where they had the show, then they had to go overseas. Like, it's crazy. And a guy coming off of neck surgery, you could kind of level with that. Like, I would rather just stay in NXT.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it's just like Ciampa, like he said before, like his neck is kind of like a ticking time bomb. And I do think like him just being up on the main roster would definitely like, take like a lot of time off his body in general. And just like everybody talks about like how NXT dudes are really small, and it's just like Yeah, they are, and I do think if Ciampa were to like go up there and have like do his angle with Randy Orton, continuation from Survivor Series, like Ciampa's done. Like probably by like the pay-per-view match, like after he takes that RKO, like he's done.
Like you're gonna see. Matter of fact, we're probably gonna see a little bit of crossover too with Royal Rumble. Like if you have NXT men and women in the Rumble, like you're gonna see interaction again, and that you're gonna obviously see it like when it comes down to Survivor Series. Even though I don't know if you really want to put. Like, look at Adam Cole's schedule. I don't know if you really want to put people in that position again. But
yeah, to like let people rest, like for sure.
Yeah, and Adam Cole definitely deserves rest. Like, mostly out of everybody because the
like
bumps that he took.
Right, like let Roderick Strong run into the Rumble for representing Undisputed Era.
Yeah, so I level with him here. You know what I mean? Like, especially because he's been in the Indies, he's been in PWG, he's been in ROH. Like, he's got all these injuries, and I like to see him. I'd like to see him used, but like you said, could he really fight against like Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns every night? I don't know. I don't know if he really wants to
getting
put
smoked.
I don't know if he wants to really put his body through that.
Like I'm like right now, just like any spot that he takes can just really like take a lot of time on, and like that's like wrestling in general. Every bump takes like minutes away from your life or whatever. But it's just like, let's say he goes up against Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns, and then they do the like the one arm power bomb spot, and it's just like Ciampa's like pretty small, so I'm pretty sure like Ciampa gets like an arm bar or something, and they just lift him up and slam him down like dead on his back. Like that's taking like 20 minutes off of his life.
Well, look at Johnny Gargano. We have not seen him since that angle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like, and it's like this mystery injury. You know what I mean? So that and like just even going back to, I hate to say this, but like Seth Rollins and Sting, one power. I know Sting is older, but one buckle power bomb gave him spinal stenosis. You know what I mean? Like,
they're throwing Ciampa against Seth Rollins. Does Rollins do the stomp? He's out of here. Or like now that AOP is around, Ciampa take a super collider right now. He's out of here.
So yeah, I think. Other than Shayna Baszler, who definitely needs to move, you're going to see girls really lobby to stay in NXT. It's a better schedule,
Mm-hmm. And I think like there's going to be that period of time where people are just like, oh, like Ciampa definitely needs to go, like the NXT landscape needs to change, or just like maybe his role turns into a Cassius Ohno kind of role, breaking in a lot of new stars from NXT, but. We'll see when we get there.
Before we go into some show stuff, I wanted to touch on the Mansoor, Dio Madden, Killian Dane, and Dominic Dijakovic Twitch, where they were making fun of the NXT and AOW demo situation and also kind of teasing Jericho and the Judas effect and making fun of the Young Bucks. I see a lot of people kind of angry about this. I don't think that it's really a big deal because if you watch Being the Elite every single week, Young Bucks kind of make fun of WWE and NXT all the time. In
a very unfunny way.
I thought this was hilarious, especially the demo stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least they got the over 50. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I didn't basically. Overall, I didn't find that it was that big a deal. And it's funny because when WWE and NXT does stuff like this, they're always looked at as the bad guy. But when AOW does stuff, they're looked at as like the, oh, they're fighting back. Like WWE can have fun too.
Not on their watch. And it's just like, I thought the video was like very funny. They even make fun of like, outside of like making fun of the Young Bucks and stuff, they also make fun of like their own like demographic stuff, like them being very popular with old people. They make little jokes like that, and it's just it's all good and fun. And also, it's just like the same thing with like everybody like dunks on Meltzer every single day, but let Seth Rollins tweet out that Meltzer's wrong, and oh my God, you're a monster. Why are you attacking him? He's just doing this for a living. Blah blah this and that. And it's just like, are we being real right now? Like, why are we defending Meltzer at all? With like, just like based off the stuff that he said about Roman Reigns in this like past 5 years alone, like why are we like even bothering to like, go up in arms for him when you guys know that he's like usually in the wrong?
Well, the Wrestling Observer has, I think, the past couple months have been getting dunked on. There's been kind of a backlash to them. Well, they've been, over. Yeah, I don't want to turn this into like bashing them or anything like that, but like obviously, news sources, there's been pushback, and I think that that's ultimately a good thing because, if you look at the Brad Shepherds, people are demanding more from, wrestling journalism and people not, just scrolling through the Squared Circle Reddit and pulling stuff and kind of reporting on it and actually doing reporting.
And it's like just doing the basic of their job, just asking for interviews, emailing for comment and stuff like that. And it's just like, no, I'd rather just say a rumor, get my traction clicks off of that, and then if they call me out and debunk it, it doesn't matter. Everybody already went on the website. And then it's just like, well, if that's how wrestling journalism is going to go, then so be it.
So let's get into the shows here. I wanted to start off, did you see, with AEW Dynamite, did you see the ad? And now everybody was kind of talking about it. AEW, depending on who you talk to, this was either a TNT thing or and AEW didn't really know about it. They were upset about it. But they ran an ad, and there were a bunch of quotes. It says, like, and this was from, I believe, the opening night, the opening of the war, so quote unquote, where it says, like, AEW crushes NXT, AEW best NXT, and, like, these quotes were there. And it was coming off a week where NXT beat AEW in the rankings, and I thought it was hilarious. And so, what are your thoughts on the ad? Just to start off, because I'm pretty sure we'll have a lot to talk about with AEW, like, and what they're doing.
I think it's really funny that this commercial came out, because like if it would have came out like, let's say at like the next following week after they were like dominating the ratings for a really long time, then it would have been like, oh damn, like AEW is really like smoking NXT right now. And then I just think in the end that commercial will always be funny because NXT comes on top like a couple weeks later, and NXT is like already like neck and neck with them again.
I thought it was funny because why are you shining? NXT is coming off a great run with the invasion angle. They've gotten more eyes. They've built stars. Why are you putting more eyes on NXT? Like, why are you like? It's basically kowtowing to them that like they've been having the better show. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's all these pull quotes.
let's say that somebody doesn't know what NXT is, and they're just like, oh, well, what is AEW burying? And then they go watch the show and they be like, no, they're not.
But here's the thing.
Show.
But also, like, even if AEW didn't make the call and TNT made the call, that's not good. Why is TNT, the network, really harping on, like, pull quotes from your opening episode about beating the competition so early? Like, the show only started in October and you're already kind of going off of, like, hey, by the way, guys, like, we beat them once, or we beat them a number of times. Like, remember that? Yeah. Remember that? Like, I know we just lost, but, you know, we're the better show here. Just show in the quality of the show.
Yeah. And it's just, like, just imagine if, like, WWE did that, you know? And also, like, how WWE, like, you know, they say congrats AEW for, like, having their show, you know, and then they kind of, like, got backlash for it. It was just like, haha, you're only saying that because you lost, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, NXT pulls out this stuff, and everybody's like, haha, they got him. And it's just, come on, guys, like, let's be fair here. Like, let's have a fair judgment. Like, this is ridiculous.
All right, let's get into the meat of AEW, like, some storylines in AEW Dynamite.
Very thin meat that has been AEW for the past 2 weeks.
Okay, so in case you've been living under a rock, Cody got beat up again by, you know, a new person or new persons. It was the thought that it was the debut of Butcher and Blade. Butcher's Andy Williams. He's been on the indie circuit, and he's also the guitarist for the band Every Time I Die. And Blade is back in Braxton Sutter. He's been in Impact, and he's also Allie's husband. And she's the Bunny now. She's repackaged as the Bunny. Like I said, they beat up Cody. JR didn't know what was going on.
Clueless.
The crowd didn't know what was going on. And here's also the thing, and it kind of goes off of Cody's promo this week. MJF did a promo that was on their Twitter, which is, I have no idea why they did this, because if you looked at comments, people were like, oh shit, like, I didn't know that he did that. So if you looked at his promo, which was actually pretty good, he basically paid Butcher and Blade to attack Cody. So I think that they dropped the ball here again on another debuting thing, because nobody knows who they were. You repackage Allie after like 2 weeks of, you know, doing a promo where she gets attacked by Awesome Kong. And then she does a promo, which was cool. But then again, you have, you know, a Dark Order-ish type Butcher and Blade thing that's like a hired gun. So what are your thoughts on how they debuted another faction, but they didn't really, like, I think that this would have benefited if you would have, like, alluded to it a little bit more, instead of just attacking Cody and then, hey, by the way, on Twitter, MJF cuts his promo to say, I hired them, guys.
I think it drops the ball because it involves MJF, you know? I definitely think this should have been done purely because the Bunny wants revenge for what Awesome Kong did to her at Full Gear. Like, why wasn't that anybody's first thought? You know, that's so much better than them being hired by MJF. JR just saying like who these guys are like a million times also doesn't help him at all. Cody getting beat up again. If you wanted to do this thing, maybe there could have been somebody else if it's going to be the MJF story, you know. Also, like, why not just have Warlow do it? He just debuted. Have him beat up Cody again.
Well, it's like okay. In Cody's promo, he alluded to his wife going crazy. Okay, that's another thread that. All right,
stop. Like, those two need to stop talking about each other.
Like
just like in general, just like stop. Just like be characters and act independently of one another.
Well, it kind of like makes me think is like, okay, so Allie talked. It is Allie and Brandy's faction. Are they like on a collision course together? Because like maybe Allie's gonna get some get back on Brandy or Awesome Kong. That confused me. And then, like you said, like, all right, Cody gets attacked again by new people, and he comes out and he cuts out yet another spirited promo. It's like Groundhog's Day. Like, Cody gets attacked. He does, like, the spirited promo saying, like, you know, and especially with another little dig at WWE about the Crossroads and, like, botching the Crossroads, and now it's on to... Great. But, you know, he does, like, kind of like this Ric Flair-ish promo saying, like, you know, he'll do anything to get a match with MJF. Cool. Awesome. But it's like attacked promo.
Yeah. And it's the same promo every time, and I don't know how people haven't really caught on to this formula yet.
He's a great promo, Cody, but, like, we see it, like, 15 times. Like...
Yeah, like Cody has the one promo, and it's like a Dusty Rhodes impression. Like it is like it's so boring to me. Like Cody's so boring.
So Cody said that MJF could choose his partner, and MJF chooses QT Marshall. So this week coming up, you're gonna have the Butcher and Blade versus Cody and QT Marshall. In a tag match. Like I said, like it's very
QT Marshall.
Well, he's been on AEW Dynamite a few times, and I know a few people have alluded to him having new hair because he's got the LeBron treatment and like getting, you know, I guess the hair plugs.
the Tanahashi hair plant.
Yeah, he got the hair plant. So like new hair, and he's, I guess, the new buddy of Cody, because MJF has alluded to Cody not having any friends, even though the Bucks and the Bucks and Hangman Page have come down and
kind of like everybody that was on the first episode during the brawl. The Elite, the people that he started the company with, like. He has no pals. Like
no pals.
Call Tony Khan to tag with you, bro.
So we also have the repackaging of Nyla Rose. This is, I guess, third time is the charm here.
Yeah. After like 3 weeks of doing nothing on AEW Dark.
Unfortunately, Leva Bates had to come to the same conclusion as AEW Dark, getting beat up by Nyla. And there's also a little feud that's been brewing with Shayna that her and Nyla have had a little bit. We talked about this a little bit off the pod. You watched the Fight TV version. I watched the TNT version. So the big angle that happened with Nyla kind of beating up the ref and powerbombing the ref and Shayna through the table, right? This happened on the TNT version during the commercial break. So with her getting the table and kind of her doing the powerbomb spot, it was very weird for me to watch because it all happened picture in picture. Like there was no, and then you only got the conclusion. Very weird. And
my problem with watching AEW on TNT is like they film the show as if they're not on TNT and the whole thing is being streamed on Fight Network. or like Fight TV. And it's just like they've been doing this for a really long time, and it's just like now people are like bothered by it. Like, what about the first week of Dark when Jericho was beating up Cody for like a 15-minute commercial break, and then we came back and he's still beating him up? Or the brawl with the Young Bucks and Pride and Powerful like 3 weeks ago, where they also had a brawl as well that went into commercial break, and then when they came back, Private Party came out to assist the Bucks and stuff, and it's just, they do this all the time.
Also, buried into that, Britt Baker's in the crowd, and she does the whole like covered her mouth thing that they showed basically in War Games when Adam Cole took that big spot off the cage, and now this is the Britt Baker challenge. Like, even AOW wrestlers are all in on it. Like, they've hashtagged this thing, and it seems that it has overtaken what happened with Nyla Rose. Like, you're doing this big thing. You're doing this big thing with Nyla Rose, trying to make her a monster again. But everybody's focused on Britt Baker. Like, Britt now, okay, there's two things about this. Britt Baker is the first signee of, built up as the first signee of the AOW women's division, that the pillar, right? Mm-hmm. So now you have not only kind of taken away a little bit from Nyla Rose's moment, you have basically made Britt Baker into a meme. Not only with that, but, the whole thing, like, she's a damn dentist, like, you've done that to her. So, like, I don't know. I just...
Well, one, it does take away from Nyla Rose's moment 2 times, because what happens directly after, like, doing, I don't get the joke about them saying that's Adam Cole's girlfriend. Like, I don't get it. It does not make me laugh. But when I see the tweets where it's just like, oh my God, and it's like laughing emojis, I'm just like, what is the joke here? Like, I don't get it. And if like the challenge, the Britt Baker challenge is something for her to like, or like something for them to get viral off of, it's not gonna branch far. Also, if you want it to branch far, have her on the show, have her on Dynamite and not on Dark.
So we got one more debuting faction here, which is another cultish thing. So like as a segue, I actually like the Dark Order promos that they've been doing, but the fact that like everybody,
I like it too.
Everybody's a cult, like it seems like I'm watching a AOW version of the Blair Witch Project a little bit.
I would say Midsummer.
Oh boy. So during the Chris Statlander Hikaru Shida match, Chris Statler gets the win, which I kind of was a little shocked here, but they did just sign her, and people. Surprised. But they did just sign her, and people are hiring her, so that's a good thing. So there's the beginning of the Nightmare Collective. That's Brandy, Awesome Kong, and then Melanie Cruz, which, again, if you're watching the TNT version, the whole haircutting thing that happens with Melanie Cruz, that happens picture in picture. That happens during commercial break, which is also weird. And a lot of people have alluded to, they're like, okay, WWE Straight Edge Society much? And
absolutely, is it like direct ripoff? Like, like they try to give her a full fade in the ring, and it's just like just another what is it? Brandy Rose just taking more time on television and taking away moments from women so she can do her own thing. And it's just like, come on, guys! Like, why are we doing this?
I just want to say, like, I was not the one that said this, because a lot of people have alluded to when she did the promo that the crowd was silent, and then somebody on Twitter, I don't know who it is, they called Brandy a charisma vacuum. Basically, like, she kind of like sucked the air out of the show.
Because it's just like she's really taking away time from the women. Like Chris Statlander just had an amazing match with Hikaru Shida, and she just became the number one contender. Also, another person that on the in the win losses, she only has one singles win, and now is the number one contender. It's ridiculous. And then, you're taking away that number one contender's moment. Like, she's going to face Riho at some point that we haven't seen for a very long time on TV. And then Brandy Rose comes out. It makes everything about her.
Yeah, I think soon they're going to have to start putting Riho in a milk carton. And, like, the women's...
Yeah.
Like, have you seen our women's champion? Because we haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah. It's just like a lot of, like, Randy Rhodes just takes a lot of, like, moments away from people, and it just needs to stop at some point.
Yeah, so Nightmare Collective is a thing. They offered Chris to join. I guess that's to be continued. And if you listen to, I guess, Meltzer has said that Awesome Kong is hurt and can't do much. So she's not going to be in a lot of matches. So I'm like,
why would you even start the angle if she can't wrestle?
I mean, he said that she can wrestle, but they just can't be long matches. Like Awesome Kong is up there in age a little bit.
I completely understand, but if she can't go, why would you like fire up this angle now? I think if they would have just did those like weird video packages with Brandy Rose doing her thing much later, and then Awesome Kong pulled up, then sure. Or maybe if like Brandy Rose is wrestled, maybe she could just collect the hair on her own, just something. Well, I think this is just another time of AEW just doing stuff just way too early.
Well, I think that like you can have obviously Awesome Kong is still a specter of dominance. Obviously, you know what I mean. Like I think that it was kind of the right thing to kind of pair her with Brandy, but at the same time, like it's like, all right, with Awesome Kong kind of beating everybody up, somebody has to have the comeuppance, and it has to be Awesome Kong that gets beaten up. And if she can't really go, then like why have her be the focal point, like be the muscle? You know what I mean? I guess there's just too many muscle like storylines. You have Wardlow, you have Jake Hager, and like you have Awesome Kong. Like everybody, like there's a main figure, and then there's the muscle to the main figure. Like it seems like that's there's like a lot of clone storylines in AOW.
Yeah. They're sure as hell are writing their own stories, and they're just copying and pasting them.
To round some things out, let's talk about Jericho, the weaving lines of Jericho, Jungle Boy, and Moxley. So we'll start with Jericho. He brings out the lexicon of Le Champion, which is obviously a play on the list of, another WWE thing.
Rolling my eyes. WWE, the bad creative, but let me just literally rip everything off that I've done with Kevin Owens onto this show.
Well, it's funny because like he tells everybody to get out of 2016, but yet he brings, something that he did from 2016. Funny. So on this list, I mean, they teased it, the week before with Moxley coming out and like doing the thing in the crowd, but he says like the people that he won't wrestle in 2019, there's only, if you look at their live shows, there's only 2 weeks left. So he mentions Moxley over and over again. And then just to kind of play off like the beatdown. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt come out. It comes out, and they tease that Marco Stunt would be the one to fight Jericho, which would be funny.
Defeat Jericho.
Yeah. And Luchasaurus says something like, like dinosaurs have been oppressed for over 65 million years. I'm like, okay, that was kind of funny.
Roll my eyes, but at the same time, all right, you gotta chuckle out of me.
Yeah. I'm like, ha 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 ha. And so he goes down the line, and we get a match that's going to happen, I guess, in 2 weeks. We're going to have Jungle Boy versus Jericho, and a lot of people were perplexed about this because if you looked at it, Jericho alluded to this in the promo, and if you look at Jungle Boy's overall record, he has not won a match. I don't think that they did a good job doing this because I think Cody had to clarify on Twitter that this would not be for the title. But Jungle Boy fighting Jericho, what are your thoughts on that? Jungle Boy, I think, overall is an 0-7. And I think...
0-8, brother.
0-8. My bad. I think them burying the lead with Cody saying that it's not for the title, that there's probably going to be an upset here.
Yeah, and probably have like a title match later. Just like my general thoughts about the whole thing, like JR does a lot to try and get Jungle Boy over on commentary. I guess like JR sees a lot in him. So far, like I don't see it. And if they were gonna like really lead up to this, I think they probably should have got like a couple wins or just a win in general. Also, the beatdown angle looked silly.
Yeah, it's just like Marco Stunt is pounding.
Marco Stunt is like pounding Jericho, and like Jericho looks like unbothered and unaffected by it. Like he's getting beat, like he's getting punched by two men, but like, oh my god,
yeah,
that's a little funny.
So Moxley and Joey Janela have another match. This is not their death match; it's just a regular match. Which I actually think that Joey Janela actually looks better here, and I think that they work well together. But he takes another loss, and Jericho does the whole thing where he teases, he comes down and overlooks Moxley to end the show. Do you think that they're teasing Moxley and Jericho too soon?
Well, with Moxley just lingering in the background and constantly being a presence on the AEW ranking stuff, I definitely think that they can't ignore it, But like if they have a match, I think it would be far too soon. I think a match would be too soon, but teasing it now is an okay time. But like, you remember the last time they had a match in the Asylum match? Not really trying to see it.
I think, and I'll go back off like our last episode and what I said. This has to be a summer program. Because if you're going to get the title off Jericho at some point and have a big baby face that they're building up to, it cannot be in January or February. Because you just burnt another big angle. They're burning through matches way too quick. I think,
and now we're getting a bunch of rematches.
Yeah, like
of like some like their biggest matches, and it's just like rematches are fine, but it's just like this could have been saved for a special day, but you did it too early. Now it's less important now because it's a random rematch.
Yeah, like we've seen, like there was an episode where we saw Kenny Omega versus Pac again, and then Pac coming out and saying like, "I want another rematch." This is the third match that they would have. Pac is now, if they fight again, Pac is now has a, basically a series with, Hangman Page and then Kenny Omega. Like, you're running through matches way, 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 way too quick. And we're not seeing guys like Darby Allin, like he's been missing for a couple weeks. Jimmy Havoc. I don't know if you really want. He's a specialized wrestler, so I don't know if you really want to put him on that much. Like, Wardlow hasn't wrestled. Jake Hager hasn't wrestled. So, like, what are you going to do? Like, you're burning. You're just too much. Like, too many matches. And, like, going off the point that you just said, like, I like Jungle Boy. I think that he's going to be a star soon, but get him a win. Like, if he beats Jericho, like, all right, cool. Is he going to go after? That's how you prolong it? Is he going to go in a title match later? Like, that's the booking in AEW perplexes me because one, it seems like there's 4 different shows. Like, there's a Cody show, there's this Kenny Omega redemption angle. Then you have Moxley. He, even JR said, like, when he's coming down, he's part rattlesnake. So I'm like, okay, great. You're trying to build him to be Stone Cold Steve Austin when he could just be himself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you have like the Young Bucks and the tag stuff, which feels like a different show. It's like they're catering to they're trying to cater to every single people, but at the same time only catering to the AEW ilk, and it's hurting them.
Yeah, also don't forget about AEW Dark, because they can completely disregard Dark at some point and just have, like, redo a match like they did this week with Liv Bates and Nyla Rose. Like, that match happened like 2 weeks ago, and now we're getting it again for like a silly angle, but like still, you like did this already.
Yeah, it's like people have now been asking the question because on Being the Elite, they ran the thing where Hangman Page leaves the Elite. They're like, why do I have to watch Being the Elite and AEW Dark to get all the pieces of these storylines? And we don't hear anything on the show. You don't really hear anything about Being the Elite on Dynamite. Like, it's just like a separate thing. But there are things that are happening on there.
Yeah. Like, still to this day, like, stop doing that. That is not how you want to, like, progress storylines. It is just like, if they're going to fail to mention it on the main show, then, like, don't do it at all. Just stop doing that. And the time, like, you can't say there isn't time on the show because, like, there is. Just pace your show differently. And maybe, like, if you don't have a 20-minute Cody promo every week, maybe a match could go there, a vignette could go there. Anything.
I mean, just to kind of end on a positive note, I did like the Trent and Phoenix match. I thought that was probably one of the best things about the show this week.
I will say, on a positive note, that just during this like break, like during the Thanksgiving break, I have caught up on like a lot of the women's matches that's been on AEW Dark and on the main shows, and I think Chris Statlander is like fantastic. Like, her and Shauna are great.
Yeah, please, you know what I mean? Like, I think they're trying to, like, we got 2 women's segments this week. So I think they're trying to integrate things and trying to build up stuff with them. Just don't bury them with the whole Nightmare Collective thing. Like, I'm very wary about that. I'm like, okay, like...
Well, we don't know yet. I'm not too sure, but can Melanie Cruz go? Like, can she wrestle in Awesome Kong's place?
I don't know. I mean, like, I know that she had some she's an indie wrestler. I haven't seen her matches yet. I'm definitely going to probably check them out. Some things out this weekend, but we'll see. We will keep an eye out because as we round out the year and what they do in AEW. I wanted to segue into NXT because Dakota Kai,
GOAT brand,
continuing her heel turn, calling Mia Yim a hood rat. Or
called her a hood rat and pulling up with Tegan Knox's knee brace. All of that. Big fire.
Okay, so like before we get into like what happened in like the big angles, what'd you think about her entrance basically showing her the beatdown from War Games? Like it was all for like 2-3 minutes.
That shit hard. Like it can't, like, even if like it reminds you of like this shocking moment and this like horrible moment, and the fact that like you have to see it over and over again because it does look brutal as hell, also like makes you uncomfortable. And if you hate that they keep showing it, good, she's a heel.
I love the little things about this Dakota Kai heel turn, that she comes out and she just turns and just watches the Titantron. And just watches the beatdown. I loved it. I'm loving how she's owning this whole thing. Like, it's great.
It's like it's finally a defining moment in her career that doesn't make her look weak. You know, if we have to look at anything that happened on NXT, it's like her being beat up by Shayna Baszler, her getting beat up by Shayna Baszler, her not making the War Games team. Like, it's all, like, dark, somber stuff that really, like, you know, it more or less puts her down. But, like, now she has this moment that she can look back on, and it, like, you know, turned everything around for her.
I like how they're protecting her, too, because last week she had the match with Candice LeRae, but that ended in the DQ. Cool, she doesn't have to take it down. Yeah. And then here, Mia Yim, she takes the place of Rhea Ripley. She comes out. She had the sweatpants and Tim's.
Sweatpants. She gave her the Yakuza kit with the Tim's.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, all right, wow. Like, she's wrestling with Tim's, which is cool, right? But when she gave her like the big boot with the Tim, I'm like, oh damn. Like, is Dakota gonna be all right? Is she gonna be like interested into CTE records here?
all wheat.
So that happened. You had Xia Li, who, I mean, how do you feel about her? Real quick.
Like last week, her like not instantly getting like demolished by the Shayna Baszler and pals. Like, I thought that was really cool. Like, I was just like, oh, like, they're coming out, now they're gonna, like, beat the hell out of her. But, like, no, she, like, after a match with a returning Vanessa Bourne, like, come on, we put that into fruition.
We did.
You know, she looked like, she didn't look too weak in the brawl, and I think that, that's good for her. And then here, she has a really good match against Shayna that's not a squash, and I like Shayna's TV matches a lot because, you know, she actually like sells in them.
So Rhea Ripley has been getting the best of Shayna. Okay, she pinned her in the War Games match, but here she didn't. She got choked out with help with the pals, as you said.
Help from the pals.
They're going to have a match for the women's title in 2 weeks. Big. So how do you feel here about Shayna kind of getting her invincibility back and getting the best of Rhea Ripley?
I'm not a fan of that at all.
Really?
All. Like, no. Like, Shayna becoming that dominating heel again, where it kind of like how would I describe it? Like, it's making me feel like Rhea Ripley is not going to be the doesn't really stand a chance in the title match now that Shayna's like, you know, getting heated up again. I do think, you know, you want to like keep Shayna strong, but like you already did that with her beating Xia Li in a dominating fashion. So it just makes me think that Rhea Ripley is not going to win, and we are like clamoring for Shayna to lose the title.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. Like, Rhea already broke out of the clutch in the War Games match. Like like Shayna was shocked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she gets the pin there. I think that, I don't know, because they have the title match is coming, right? I don't think that Rhea is going to win there. I think that Rhea will win in February, and then that's where you kind of have your send off with WrestleMania build with Shayna, because, like you said, like, we saw Shayna get a win against Bayley and Becky. And
as Survivor Series. Wait, hold on. Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
So let's say that, maybe they don't do it in February because, the Royal Rumble's in January. And maybe they can start the Shayna and Becky feud starting from Royal Rumble, onto the road of WrestleMania, rather than it happening in February and then Becky finally getting a challenger, that Monday after the pay-per-view,
They could do that. I think that there's the specter of, I don't know why people are working themselves into a shoot, but there's always the specter of Ronda Rousey kind of being around. There's no indication that she's going to come back at Royal Rumble. So, like, you could do that. You could get the title off Shayna in 2 weeks, and then have her, sent into like Royal Rumble. And hey, remember me, Becky? Because like you have to have a payoff. Yeah. Because you have to have a payoff with Becky attacking her after the match ended. You know what I mean? Like. And Becky kind of like getting her heat back there. And then you could have Rhea Ripley, face whoever if she wants to face Dakota Kai in February, and then have her have a big program maybe against Io Shirai or somebody.
Or Bianca Belair. Yeah.
Bianca's got to move up. All right, have you watched SmackDown?
Yeah. Yes, she definitely does have to move on. But just like if, Rhea just needs something till February,
Yeah. That's a good point. Like that's a good point, especially if you're not going to bring back Ronda Rousey, because she still has that hand injury. Like, Shayna could be the foil there.
And like, I'm not saying like, just throw Bianca in there so it could be like a transition or something. I just think, Bianca's a really good heel, and they already had an amazing match before. So just like let it be for the women's title, and they'll, give them more time, and they'll just have a barn burner.
You could do that. It's just, like, I don't want Bianca losing again in another NXT title match. You know what I mean? Like, move her up. Yeah. Raw needs help. So like,
but I don't want Io Shirai to lose either. Like, somebody's gonna have to take the fall here.
True.
And I just think
maybe Aaliyah could take the fall. I don't know. Like,
you saw. She finally got her nose fixed.
Yeah. And
but
I mean maybe VXT have another heel faction.
I ain't trying to see that shit.
Really, I'm a fan of Deonna Purrazzo though. Like, she's good. She's a really good wrestler.
Yeah. I'm not questioning her skill at all. It's just like, like as of right now, just like no. Because I just think like you have like really good heels. Maybe you could have like her lingering around, maybe. Yeah. But like we have Io Shirai, we have Bianca Belair there, even though she shouldn't have to be there, and then we have Dakota Kai. Like we have like 3 amazing heels right there.
Yeah.
Also Rhea could turn anytime, but I don't think it'll do.
Nah, I think that she's like too big of a baby. Fans are way behind her right now. You got to keep her a babyface. Yeah. Just to move on. Killian Dane need a challenger, and now I have to change. I can't call him Mr. Second Hour anymore. Pete Dunne, Mr. First Hour now. They had a match of Killian wins. There's this muck between Killian Dane, Pete Dunne, Damian Priest.
Wrap it up.
This was a good match, but I don't want to see it again. It's kind of like the Cassius Ohno and Matt Riddle match. I don't want to see that again. Like, great, cool. You got to do something with these guys. Like, you got to do something with Damian Priest, Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, Matt Riddle. Like, it's just a whole bunch of guys just kind of.
Well, no, you don't have to do anything with Killian Dane.
Why do you guys hate Killian Dane so much?
I just think he's boring. Like, he's not cool, like, at all. I thought is he still, like, the Beast of Belfast thing, like, that's kind of cool, but, like, you know, he ain't really doing anything. And also, when you put him against people like Pete Dunne and Damian Priest, like, he's, like, easily overshadowed there.
He's the hoss.
I just don't think that he... Yeah, but, like, so is Damian Priest. Like, Damian Priest is huge. It is just, like, I don't find him, like, really interesting or anything. And like Pete Dunne said, I don't care about Killian Dane. Like, I just don't. I'm just really not invested in, like, anything that he really does. Especially, like, in this feud with, like, two other people that I really care about more.
There's got to be something. Okay, so this is where Roderick Strong comes into play for me. They have to get the title off him at some point because you just have guys just kind of circle it. I know you have to have supplementary feuds, but you have a whole bunch of guys like circling around each other, and I'm like, all right, who's Killian going to fight next? Like, he's beaten Pete Dunne. You've had the Damian Priest thing. Damian Priest, I think, is great. You're going to eventually have a returning Velveteen Dream. Also, you have Dominik Dijakovic too. You got to have stakes, and like I think that's where the North American title comes into play. And I love Roddy, but you got to get the title off him. Like, they got to be fighting for something.
Well, what's crazy is that we're getting that, that part of NXT, or just like, it happens time and time again where the top of the card is just clogged by a faction or just like a wrestler. Like last year, it was like Johnny Gargano and Ciampa just clogging the top of the card, with Adam Cole like lingering around as well. But yeah, I do like, and that's why they did make the North American title, It's just, so the top of the card isn't really like clogged like that anymore. But now that you finally pulled off the Undisputed Era, winning all the titles. Now, like, everything's clogged up now. Like, the whole men's division is clogged up. Like, I don't, if anybody needs to, like, lose a title, just take it off Roddy. But if they want to, like, let Velveteen take it at the February pay-per-view, maybe, or, like, come back at Mania for his title, just do it. Like, I definitely need to see these dudes, like, at least Roger Strong losing the title. So, like, people like, Killian Dane, Pete Dunne, have something to really fight for.
I think if you watch, basically watching Survivor Series and the whole invasion angle, it's time for Undisputed Era to move up. I think they've done every single thing. Well, they've done every single thing. They've fulfilled the prophecy. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Well, we can't say, now that NXT is on the USA Network, we can't just say that, like, they need to get called up, Like, and, like, them representing NXT during that whole invasion at Survivor Series doing a thing, and then they get called up to Raw or SmackDown, it's just like, well, the cool guys from NXT are on Raw and SmackDown now. Now I don't have to watch NXT, Like, now that, like, if NXT was still on the network and that happened, I same rules will still apply, but it's just like, get these dudes off the network and get them on television already.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm like, how many times is Kyle O'Reilly and Fitcher going to go after the tag team titles? Like, how many times are they going to hold it?
Yeah.
How long is Adam Cole going to hold the NXT championship? How many times is he going to fight everybody? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? They're primed for the main roster. They got a great main roster reaction. Adam Cole beat Daniel Bryan. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to do something because there's muck again. You know what I mean? Like, and we'll talk about it when we talk about the 6-man tag. It's clogged. Like, it's great that there are a lot of contenders. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But like, you guys, you have guys who are injured that aren't even, like Gargano, Velveteen Dream. When these guys come back, then what are you going to do? Like, you have even more guys. You know what I mean? So, are you going to introduce another title? I would imagine you'd do that. So, like, some people are going to have to go.
God, well, they are like an intercontinental kind of title for, like, what would they even call it? We have the NXT Championship. We got the North American Championship. Like, do we get another regional belt?
Yeah, the East Coast or like the Florida Championship or something like that. I don't know, but
internet champion, throw Zack Ryder a bone, bro.
Speaking of returning guys, welcome back Kushida. He was sitting out 2.
Like, why is he like? He should be like a number 1 contender right now.
Well, he was sitting out with 2 months with like a wrist fracture. He had a match against Cameron Grimes. He gets the win. It was a quick match. What do you feel about Kushida and where he's going to go? He's another guy who
he's clogged. Also, Cameron Grimes is also clogged as well because he became this like unbeatable dude. Now he's taking all the pins, just like negating all those weeks of like those quick wins, you know. And it's just like, come on, guys! Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, for as good as NXT has been, and I think it's good here too. There's, like we just talked about, there's this conundrum of, all right, what are we going to do with Kushida now? You know what I mean? Is Kushida going to go after maybe the Cruiserweight title?
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
Cameron.
Oh wait, the cruiserweight title was probably like their intercontinental.
Yeah,
like,
they could do that. Yeah,
but like Killian Dane can't challenge for that.
He can't challenge for that unless, you know what I mean. Like, they're fudging the books. Him and Leo Rush would be a squash. And same thing like with Cameron Grimes. Like, cool. What are you going to do with him? You know, like, I don't know. Like you said, a lot of talent just kind of like circling around each other. So, like, to finish up with NXT, you had the 6-man tag, just stars. Keith Lee, Ciampa, Dominic Dijakovic, Cole, O'Reilly, and Strong. Fitch is not there because he is hurt. He allegedly has a concussion. This poor guy.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe that. Yo, we thought that Adam Cole would have like the hardest week of them all. Just during like Survivor Series, but like we didn't think about Bobby Fish. Like he like I don't want to say like he's injury prone, but like he gets hurt a lot, and I think him getting the boot to the face by the Revival definitely like sparked something.
Him getting thrown by Keith Lee and like I guess coming up short of people, I think that's where he got hurt too.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely where, and like I don't think he should really be like taking those kind of like just probably like take safer bumps. Like I know that's like hard to say because I'm not a wrestler, whatever, but I definitely think just needs to play a safer game. Like I thought the Survivor Series match where they were kind of like in and out of it, that definitely worked into Fish's advantage.
So get well soon, Fitch. So Balor, of course, interrupts, but I love this whole thing where Balor is kind of an allegiance to himself. Like he takes guys out, then he looks to basically take out Cole, but Keith Lee hits him with a huge spear bomb, which he sells amazingly. Yeah. So basically, the conclusion of this, Adam Cole is going to defend the title in 2 weeks, but we have a nice little number one contenders match. So we got Keith Lee, Ciampa, and Balor. That's a crazy that's a crazy number one contenders match. I don't know who's going to. I'm going to let you go first. I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot here. Who do you think is going to win the triple threat to go against Cole in 2 weeks?
Oh my God! Balor has to get screwed somehow here.
A return to Johnny Gargano, maybe.
Oh yeah, and then probably help Ciampa pick up the win. They gotta save the Keith Lee joint. They gotta save it because I think you don't do the whole Ciampa thing, the whole Goldie Daddy's going to war, Daddy's coming back, all that other stuff. I think they finally need to have the Ciampa match, and then Keith Lee is like he's like on top of like the world, you know. So I think they can like hold off on the Adam Cole match. Save it for February, or throw it out for Mania. Or you could do the Balor thing for Mania.
I think in the terms of creative, you got to shift gears here. You see the response to everybody with Keith Lee. I would hate for Keith Lee to win and then kind of burn this title match on in like an NXT show. You know what I mean? And have him lose.
Just be like a throwaway win. Like I definitely think like it should be a special moment.
You got to read the room,
or like it. But like also, it would be kind of like a special moment to like win a title on TV because I think it would be the first title change on TV.
Well, I don't think that Adam Cole is going to lose on TV. I think that he's going to lose on
Adam Cole's
TakeOver.
definitely not losing. Yeah,
but
I'm just saying, like, that would be the case, but it's not happening.
I think that I agree with you here. You got to do the Ciampa match first.
Like, just get it out of the way.
If Johnny's ready, you got to have him cost Balor or have him attack Balor. Because I think before you have Balor go after the title again, there's unfinished business there. You can milk Balor versus Gargano for a while. So, like, I would have that, and then I would have Ciampa and Cole to end the year. I just think that, you just gotta listen. Like, everybody loves Keith Lee. I love Keith Lee. You love Keith Lee.
Like,
read the room, change some things up, and have him. Like, if he were like I just said, like if he were to take a loss so early, I would be pissed. Like, I'd be like, all right, man. Like, he had all this momentum. You've built him up this year to be a dominant force. And for him to get this title match and just to lose, I'm like, all right, man. Like,
yeah. Like, guys, like, I understand that his Survivor Series showing was amazing. But let's just slow down before, we make irrational decisions. And then, booking is kind of like a little messed up. Because, things are written in advance, So, like, I think they should just get the Ciampa match out of the way. He lose or wins, it doesn't matter. Like, well, Cole's not losing on TV.
No.
But, just hold off on the Keith Lee thing. And I think, we'll survive, guys.
Yeah, man. Good showing. Like I said, like a lot of moving parts. To round out the show here, want to go into the rankings that just came out for AOW. So in the men's singles, Jon Moxley's on top. Kenny Omega is now number 2 with a 5-2 record. He's over Pac, Cody, and MJF. Women's singles, Hikaru Shida is still number 1. Nyla Rose is now number 2 with a 3-3 record. She's over Emmy, who's 1-1, Britt Baker, who's 3-2, and now a new entrant in Chris Statlander, who's 1-0. Tag teams, Santana Ortiz is 3-1. And then there's just the muck between the Young Bucks, Best Friends, Lucha Brothers, and Private Party. How do you feel about? First of all, I know you got some stuff to say about Kenny Omega being number 2 now, and Nyla Rose raising up in the rankings with her 3-3 record, coming with the second spot behind Hikaru Shida.
I say a lot of stuff like, when we heard about the win-losses thing, and it came into fruition. Like, they're gonna pick and choose, but they're still gonna have these rankings are gonna play a little part in the long run, or it stunts stories, or it just makes them look silly, and it has. If you look at this power ranking stuff compared to last week, and just how everything's happened, it looks weird because now that people are reading the rankings, and it's just this doesn't make sense, and then people are saying, well, it's about the quality of wins. No, that's not how that works. If the Utah Jazz is getting clapped all season, but they get one win over the Lakers, that doesn't really shoot them up into a championship opportunity or anything like that. Just really doesn't really make sense to me. And also just the win-loss thing mattering sometime. This, I like Chris Statlander, but this is her first win, and that her first win is the number 1 contendership. Come on, what are we doing here? And if you just look at it, Britt Baker should be at the top of this list, just based off overall.
Well, okay, disclaimers here. All right, Hikaru Shida did beat Britt Baker, so she would be on top. I would akin it more to the college football rankings, where quality of wins, right now, if you have an Oklahoma, they're battling for the last spot. Obviously, if they win, their quality of wins would be more than a Utah that just lost or something like that. My problem with the Nyla thing is 2 of her 3 wins were against Leva Bates, and then her other win was against the Jobber. Yeah. So if you're going off of quality of wins, how is Nyla over Britt Baker? You know what I mean? How's she over there? It doesn't.
Yeah. When she won a tag match that had Amy Sakura and B Priestley in it, Amy Sakura was just a number 1 contender. That's easily a higher quality of win, and just an overall. In general, she's 6-3. That is a better overall than everybody else. So she should be number 1.
Here's the thing: Nyla's also suspended for the rest of the year, which is 2 more shows. But if you believe what they've said, and I don't know if it's official yet, that these rankings reset every year, this is all a moot point. You know what I mean? This is these rankings, so Kenny Omega kind of getting his wins back, and then Cody and this whole Moxley being the number 1 contender thing, it all resets basically college football or the NFL or anything like that. So I'm what the hell are we doing basically with storylines? Because with the New Year's show, are we just going to have all storylines and just throw what happens basically in 2019 out of the window? I'm confused. If they would have come out and say, all right, we're resetting this stuff, but we're keeping the storylines, I'm all right, cool. But they haven't. I feel they're in a Slack chat or something like that, basically trying to figure this out. And I'm all right, well, the end of the year is almost here. We need some clarity on basically what's going on.
Just kill it. This is when WWE was doing the top when they were doing their top 10 power rankings or whatever. Just stop it. It doesn't really translate to anything,
Yeah, it's
and how long are you gonna have John Moxley kind of at the top of the power rankings without giving him a title shot? Like, I just really think it does a disservice when every week that you remind people that Moxley's on the top and not getting a title shot.
But how is 4-2-1 better than 4-1-1? You know what I mean? Like, how is 3-3 better than 3-2? Like, I know there's quality of wins, but like we said in the case of Nyla, like 2 quick wins over Leva Bates, like that's better. That makes me, better than like kind of like a Britt Baker who's been in the most matches in the women's division yet. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really shake out. And then like Kenny, in the case of Kenny, like I know he's beaten, but he's beaten, guys like, Jack Evans
He beat Jack Evans on AEW Dark. I don't even think it was mentioned on the main show.
And he's beaten Joey Janela. You know what I mean? Like, Joey Janela, I believe, hasn't,
Everybody's kicking Joey Janela's ass.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, how is he over a Pac? Or how is he even over a Cody? It's just, in the new year, like, we are just asking for a concise, and if you're going to keep the system, more clarity on how this works, because like this is even more of a headache than trying to figure out like the college football playoff, and that's even and there's with that it could only be a couple teams that have cases. There's just holes poked in every single one of these rankings, and I don't know,
And just I've said it like soon as they announced it. I thought the win-loss thing is dumb, and I've said it on this show. December, AEW is gonna start
falling apart. Rocky. You did say that.
I've been saying it for a really long time. People ask me like, "Oh, how long do you think AEW is gonna last?" I do see AEW having like a fifth anniversary like show or something, I do see them sticking around for a really long time, but do I think the product will be like amazing or, improve? I just don't think so. Like, every day the AEW wrestlers like Cody and Brandy are on Twitter, answering all the questions in the world. And I just feel like they probably ignore the tweets where everybody talks about how their pacing is weird or, this power ranking thing doesn't make sense, or they pick and choose what they like see and what they decide to really listen to.
Thought it was a little like for me, like I thought it was a little alarming that this was very this episode was very WWE-ish. It alluded to angles that happened on WWE or past angles, and it's just kind of like a rehash. I think that,
WWE-ish. But with the following, like last week, it was just a nothing show.
Yeah, a lot of there were a lot of things that happened. Good. Like they were just like, oh well, like if they're keeping an eye on War Games, they're like, well, like people are just gonna check in on War Games, and they did. Like NXT won the night, so they did. But
it's just like, do you just like give up? Like, are you serious? And then, people that are going out making excuses for that is just like, no, like, if you want to fight for my, like, love, then put on a good show despite of it being a post-pay-per-view show.
You mentioned, like, fight for my love, like, it's, like, two, like, divorcing parents, or...
Like, if you want me to show up on them demos, bro, win me over. Show me something I want to see. Show, like, something cool. That's not in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, please stop doing that. Like, if you're running a major angle, don't go to commercial because, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're pushing car insurance or a new show or something, like, my attention is going to be like, what the? You know what I mean? Like, oh, TNT has a new crime drama coming.
Commercial breaks. Yeah, commercial breaks are my time. I don't care if there's a picture-in-picture. Same goes for NXT. When they have matches that go in picture, I don't care. Like, I need that commercial break to like go eat food or warm something up, use the bathroom or stuff like that. When I see that picture, I am not squinting at my screen to watch what is going on. I am leaving the room and coming back.
Oh man. Well, that's our show for this week. It feels damn good to be back. It's going to be an interesting. Basically, in 2 weeks, when you got NXT titles on the line, and then you got Jericho versus Jungle Boy. So, and then
also, there's not going to be a show on Christmas.
They have no shows on Christmas, so I think that week we're going to do our best of on basically for NXT and AEW. Thankfully that they're giving these wrestlers time off to be with their families. That is pretty dope. Yeah. I forgot to mention that next week on AEW there's going to be a street fight between Santana Ortiz and the Young Bucks. Yes, we are getting this match again.
We glossed over it because we're not really doing match by match reviews. But like, why did the Young Bucks beat Pride and Powerful and Sammy Guevara this week? Like, why is the inner circle outside of Jericho getting jobbed out?
Why? Okay. Really,
quote unquote, jobbed out, but it's just like, why are these guys losing?
Okay, really quick. Not only that. When is Jake Hager going to wrestle? Like, maybe they're teasing.
Well, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm like really clamoring to see that, but like, yeah, when is he wrestling?
Yeah, but like, I know that they're doing like Dustin looks great, but maybe they do Dustin versus Jake Hager. But why are they getting wins back for the Young Bucks when they're in trios matches? You know what I mean? Like, they have them win, they have them lose in tag matches, but they'll have Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara lose in trios matches. That's how they get the wins. Like, what's going on? Like,
but it's just like
you talk about 50-50 booking in WWE. Like, it happens in AEW a lot.
It happens in damn near every promotion. Like, you can't try to erase these basic wrestling things. I'm sorry.
Hey, win and losses matter, right? More in AEW, right?
Like, these shows are getting kind of ridiculous, man. But
yeah,
that's our week.
That's our show. You could also always follow us at RNC Radio Live. Cyrus, what do we got up? I know you got a new episode of Spot Callers with a famed match on there.
Yes, new episode of Spot Callers with me and Justin Davis. We went over IWA Mid-South Something to Prove, which has the famed Necro Butcher and Samoa Joe match. We do talk about a little about the AEW stuff, just a discussion about death matches and how long they should be. The perfect death match, even in tags, it should be less than 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
Well, obviously, whoever's booking that needs to listen to Spot Callers this week and not have them go over 40 minutes.
Yo, if you go 25, somebody better die. That's the rules.
Man. Of course, we have the new episode of the A Show, First Responders, RSBN, Perfect Play playlist. Shout out to... I know we have like a million things going.
Well, let's see what else we have. We have new episodes of The Lookout. We're going over the Saiyan saga. I don't remember that saga very well, so it's really nice to hear Mark and Jeff. Meals and Jeff talk about it. RSPN with Mark and Jeff, keeping up with the NBA season and just all things sports. We have the Big Eyes podcast with Jamal. It was his birthday recently, so
yeah, happy birthday, Jamal!
Listen for his birthday. Yeah, give him a listen for his happy birthday. Everything anime, late fees. They talk about Denzel Washington, which is a really, really good episode. I need to watch more Denzel Washington movies. I have to watch The Equalizer.
You haven't watched The Equalizer yet? It's good.
I have. I'm just like I just been like a John Wick stan, but like I'm gonna cave in and watch The Equalizer. What else we got? Of course, yeah, we got the A Show. We got I'm Not a Genius. It's the November edition, but you know, Christmas is coming up soon. If you're thinking about getting any headphones,
it's a hilarious episode too.
Hear the hilarious story of Mark going to the mall in Atlanta 3 times to buy new AirPods, and he returns them again when he comes back to Miami. He gets some Beats Pros, and then he buys the AirPods again. Last week he texted me and Justin that I miss my Beats. So keep an eye on Mark on RSPN and see what kind of headphones he got. But that's us for this week. That's everything RNC. You can follow us on Twitter, RNC Radio Live, and on Instagram it's just RNC Radio. We keep you updated.
We're about to be damn near Disney Plus with all the shows that we're on.
Yeah. And we have more playlists. Our playlists are year-end playlists of just everything that we enjoyed this year. It's available on everything, including Tidal, which we recently got on Tidal at the start of this month. So if you have a Tidal account, RNC Radio is on there now. So that's everything.
All right, guys, we will talk to you next week.